Let me see if I can do my best DMX impression. What these tenants want from a landlord. Right? That is the question, right? What do we do when a tenant moves out and we're turning over your apartment? What is the magic formula that we can utilize to get you the most bang for the buck, get the most rent, and get the best tenant? Well, the answer is really it depends. You know what I mean? There's five areas that we kind of always look at, and but it goes from there. Sometimes it's simple. They move out, we do a quick clean in, couple little light repairs, we're back in business. Sometimes they destroy the place, and we got some tough decisions to make. Okay, so first area we look at is kitchen. Right? Everybody wants a brand new kitchen. you know there's a lot of competition in Fall River, a lot of market rate brand new apartments being built. They obviously have brand new amazing kitchens, you know but if you have a perfectly functional kitchen in your apartment and there's really nothing wrong with it, it's stupid to rip it out to put a brand new perfectly functioning kitchen. You know what I mean? So we could look at maybe a little small things instead of ripping everything out, maybe paint it, maybe do maybe replace a stove or a fridge if they're kind of beat. It just depends, but it's a balancing act. But in a perfect world, yeah, we'd rip out the kitchen and replace it. But that costs some money because now you're getting into plumbing, electrical, and a few other things. Okay, which so the second thing, and this one really is not as expensive as you think, because there's some really generous rebates if you have a 1 to 4 unit building, and that's upgrading to energy efficient heating systems, right? So Mass Save has some great rebates. We're very good at navigating that program. It's complex, it's timely, it's time consuming. I mean, but you can get up to $10,000 a unit. So if you got a 3 unit building, there's potentially 30 grand just in rebates on whole home heating systems. And then when you add in some other rebates they have and incentives, it can get really interesting. But really, at the end of the day, if the space heater's there and it's working and it's functional, why spend the money and go through the hassle if it works? But if you're redoing a unit and you want to upgrade it, adding mini splits, which now you can advertise central air and those type of things, it gives you a different perspective. Okay, the third one, this one's important. This is one of those ones, not very sexy, but you got to do it. And we're seeing it a lot more and more. And this is rewiring electrical systems. Okay. It's expensive, but it's a lot cheaper than your building burning down and you get denied the insurance claim because you knew there was knob and tube and didn't do anything about it. So one of the things we run into a lot with tenants is we want a quality tenant, and maybe we don't want to spend $50,000 gutting out the apartment and redoing everything, but we want to get good rent. But if the tenant can't plug in a coffee maker and a toaster and they're constantly running to the basement, flipping a breaker because there's only 2 outlets in the whole apartment that work, you know, that's indicative of like old wiring, right? So we have some great electricians that we work with. We got a good handle on how to redo these things, but it's a little bit of a cost associated. But I think that's one that you should do. You should really think about that. Safety is always paramount, right? It's better to have an older looking apartment that's safe than a really nice, beautiful, brand new kitchen that's not safe because you don't have the right electrical behind it. So that's a balancing act that we work with our clients on. Next one is another safety thing: lead paint, right? Like, you have to de-lead your units. It's not optional. You have to do it. We have a great system in place. We have some inspectors. We have some contractors we work with. It's not as complicated as people think. There's some tax credits that Massachusetts will give you. So that's one I think everyone should do on every turnover. Just get the lead cert, keep it moving. All right. Bathrooms. Kind of goes back to the thing with the electrical and the kitchen. You want top rents. You can't have a bathroom that's just disgusting. So if the bathroom's functional but it's outdated and it's in good shape and it's not leaking and there's no mold, why change it? You know what I mean? We can spray tile, we can spray tubs, so there's a balancing act there. But if your bathroom is totally unfunctional, you have a 4-bedroom apartment with a 3x3 shower, we might want to think about ripping that shower out, putting a tub in, because that tends to be families like tubs, different things like that. So we can work with you on that. Okay. So those are some of the things that we look at on a turnover. We want to get you the biggest bang for the buck possible. Some of these things do add value to the building, new wiring, lead paint being removed. That takes away a lot of safety concerns and uncertainty for buyers. That does increase your value, believe it or not. A new kitchen that you just spent $25,000 on to replace a kitchen that was fully functional, had nothing wrong with it, doesn't really add value. It'll get you a little more in rent. So that's the balancing act. So we sit down with our clients every turnover, we approach it, and we create a plan for you with the best bang for the buck possible, and we collaborate on that, and then we get it done for you. All right. So if you're struggling with a turnover, if that's something that you need help with, reach out. Let's connect, and we'll help you put together a plan, and then from there we'll grow it into management because that's the goal. All right, guys, take it easy. Hopefully you learned something today. Let's talk.